live, and I do have a question to do with that. Okay, so it looks like we're streaming live on Facebook. So welcome everybody to Beyond the Cloud for Friday, October 23rd. Yay, it's the weekend. So we'll go around, and the question today actually has to do with a little bit of what I want to talk about today. One of the topics we can talk about today. So who here, so when we introduce ourselves, do you love, or do you do, not do you love, but do you offer services for like a diagnostic file review? So this is more about our services than about us, but that ties into what I want to talk about. So I am Tanya Helps from Cloud Business Services and Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp. And these are my supernatural guys behind me because we've got like 5 weeks left. And then this series, 15 years of my life is gone. Anyway, I'll just have to rewatch it all. Thank goodness it's all still rewatchable. I love the digital era. Anyway, I did not do a lot of diagnostic reviews in the past. I don't mind them. But I didn't do a lot of them because there's a lot of deep diving and a lot of scary stuff in them. So that's going to change, however. So, but we will leave it at that for the answer. So, Lawrence, you're up next.
Good afternoon, everybody. Lawrence Fox, Accounting Wizard Solutions, from deep in the heart of beautiful downtown Thornhill, Ontario. And no, I do not currently do diagnostic reviews, but I have been thinking about doing them going forward in the next year or two. You know, it says over there, accounting, bookkeeping, and wise wizardly advice. And I want to expand the wizardly advice part of my business. And I figured, you know, the consulting side of it. And I figured that the diagnostic type of things or cleanup analysis and that kind of stuff might be an interesting way to go. So when I started thinking about 2021, learning how to do that stuff is on my list.
Awesome. Okay. Stacy.
Stacy Stanley Young from Stanley Young Business Strategies in the heart of Canada, Winnipeg. Although in the last couple of days it's been snowy Winnipeg, so you know, whatever. I'm dreaming of summer days gone by. No, I can't say that we have had a lot of demand for diagnostic review. Not that we don't naturally do that as we're taking on our clients, because that's just part of the way that we do bookkeeping. But I haven't had anybody come to me saying, "Oh, I just want you to take a look at it and review someone else's work." It like Lawrence, something that probably wouldn't be bad to get into and to be able to help people get their report cards.
Well, and especially I think these days with, you know, it's smart if we can diversify our services too, right? So, okay.
That, Stacy, is that I want to do it, as other people pointed out. I'm tired to a certain extent of doing it for free.
Got a thing for it?
Yep, fair enough.
Okay, so I like that attitude that basically says, almost, I said it to somebody this morning, we were talking about it. When I put your books on the hoist, it's going to cost you $250 for me to look under the hood.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, that's a.
Okay. I used to have a client who was a plumber, and he was one of the first people in Southern Ontario that started. It's $39 for us to come out and diagnose what's wrong. And then we'll tell you how much it is to fix it. If you don't want to hire me to fix it, you still pay me the $39 for me to come and tell you what's wrong.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
No, awesome.
So I think to a certain extent, I think that's something that we as a profession can certainly start doing in a way, and it's certainly revenue enhancing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. And Kim, you're up next.
Hi, everybody. Kim Lafayette from Beyond Bookkeeping Business Services here in Southern Ontario, Niagara region. I had not been doing diagnostic reviews, either paid or unpaid, until this past Monday. I did my very first one. And I'm happy to say, based on a lot of the webinars and teachings that I've been learning from other bookkeepers I admire, I did make it a paid one right off the bat, even though it was my first one. However, when I was having the conversation with the client to tell him or with the prospect, to tell him that I needed to do this review before I could give him a price for services. During the conversation, and I said, you know, I'm going to charge you $250 to take a look at your books first. I accidentally just had verbal diarrhea and continued my sentence by saying, if you become a client, that $250 gets refunded. And so I didn't want to do that. That wasn't my intention. It just, in the conversation, it came out. So, you know, learning curve for next time to maybe have a bit of a script going into that conversation with people. So, but I am happy that I charged for it, because if he doesn't become a client, then I've been paid for that time still. And Tanya, I used your diagnostic review sheet that's on our bootcamp form.
That's the one I think I got from QBO chat. I want to say from Kathy Iconis, I think, right? Or Kathy Iconis?
I don't know where it came from. I wanted to use auto review actually, but it was a QBD file that I was doing. I spoke to you about it last week to see if auto review did QBD. So it was a QBD file that I was doing. So it was a pretty manual process. But it still took me less than an hour, including typing up the report afterwards.
Nice.
With that template that you had, I just sort of filled in the blank.
Oh yeah, that one. I know what you're, Lisa Channel actually had started that and I modified it slightly. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
so that's what I used and sent it to them afterwards. So
nice.
Their books were actually not perfect, but very good. They've been referred to me by another bookkeeper I know who is retiring. And over the years has been gradually cutting back, and she's referred other people to me, and I'm very familiar with the quality of the work that she does. There was a couple of things that I said, you know, if I take on your file, we need to discuss this and how it's been recorded. But for the most part, you know, all their reconciliations were up to date, all their sales tax filings were up to date, like nothing was really out of place. So I kind of had that moment where I felt bad for charging them $250 to say, oh, everything looks pretty good. But, you know, it's still my time to look at it. So
exactly.
I have to keep reminding myself of that.
Absolutely. All right. And Shirley, so you missed the question. So it was because, of course, I think you already know where this topic is going today, which is perfect that you're here too, because I wanted to talk about auto review. So introduce yourself. And the question is, do you offer diagnostic reviews as part of your services?
Shirley Mathers, Balsam Way Bookkeeping and Business Solutions. Officially. Newly
incorporated. Yay!
Yeah, I took the plunge, wasn't going to do it. Yeah, I had to do it. Anyways, do I do? Yes, I do, because I work, my niche is the brewing industry. Most definitely, there's a lot of extra work, and it's the only way I can properly price a file going forward is knowing what's in there, what's the challenges, what software they have connected, how clean the data is already. So to be able to price, that's the only way, like I have to do it, and my time isn't free. And unfortunately, I don't do it. Kimmy does. I don't give a refund. It's like, this is what it is.
Well, and it's interesting because if you do decide to get into that, let's look at, again, diversifying your revenue. You can either do that for your own clients, charge them a little bit extra if they're willing to, you know, to do that, then, you know, that's definitely, you know, a show of good faith and whatnot, that they are really concerned about their books. Or you could actually become known for doing the diagnostic reviews. And I've actually done a diagnostic review for an accountant before. So I use the same form. I didn't use the software that I'm happy to talk about today that I'm going to start using. But if you become good at it and you've got a good flow, other accountants or bookkeepers that don't have time to do a deep dive on the file might subcontract to you. Hey, you know what? Here's access to the books they've just given me. You're a subcontractor on my team. You know, you've already got like an NDA and confidentiality agreement signed with them and whatnot. And then do the diagnostic and report back to them as to the state of the book. So just thoughts as to other revenue streams?
Yeah, and I think though it depends on what the purpose of the diagnostic is for though. So for me,
Right.
it's I want to take on a diagnostic to work with a new client.
Yes.
And I'm looking at, what apps do they have attached? Have they been mapped correctly? Stuff like that. And then again, the data, the quality of the data. And I used the example with somebody just the other day is, everybody likes their kitchen a certain way.
Yep.
And is the chart of accounts and are things making sense to the business owner? And some people want like hugely and bloated chart of accounts that gives the potential for a lot of error. Then there's other people who, like I just think of my sister and I, when she cooks, she has to have everything out everywhere. And it causes me huge stress, right? I can't handle it. I want like clean countertops, a space to work in and take pieces of, I see Lawrence is laughing, but there's people who like their books like that too. It's like I need to know that my food is separate from my non-alcoholic beverages, separated in everything certain ways. So when I'm looking at the review, I'm looking at it from the point of not just bookkeeping, right?
Sure. I'm laughing because when my wife cooks, she has 4 cookbooks open with 5 different versions of the recipe, and she's mixing and matching on the fly,
Yeah.
which is very rare for left-handed anal retentive Virgos, but that's the way she cooks.
Yeah. And it's just my sister, like she's got to have everything out everywhere. And, it didn't occur to me, like, I'm just like, oh no, like limit your chart of accounts. The more accounts you have, the more, but no, but we just need to see this. And even though I try to explain it in a different way, well, we can look at it this way and then we can make it granular. You actually using these for decision making. When you look at a file review, like I'm looking at a lot of different aspects of it. What do you have connected that you don't need to connect, or especially nowadays where people have had apps, they'll have 2 apps that are doing the same job.
Yeah.
And they're paying for both of them.
I have a client still on QuickBooks Desktop. I'm the 3rd or 4th bookkeeper that's involved in the file. And the other day I looked at it and I said to him, have you ever watched Homes on Homes? And he said, not really. I says, well, I'm at that stage now where I've torn out the drywall and I'm wondering how your house is standing. Okay, because there are structural issues in your bookkeeping that are beginning to, that's what Sherry's nodding, because that's what the diagnostic review, I think, would show us. And
Absolutely.
how much extra work is involved in getting those books up to our standards.
I have a couple of questions. How would you do a diagnostic review if it's software that you don't have access to? Like, for example, Sage. I don't have a Sage subscription. I don't use it. So would you then sub that out to another bookkeeper that does have access?
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't, yeah.
Well, what if they're willing to convert to QBO though?
Well, if they're willing to convert to QBO, now, mind you, there's a new Sage to QBO conversion, but I do not like, and I haven't seen the new one, so I'm not commenting on that. I've seen the old one. I have tried to work with that, and personally, I try not to do anything, but if I am talking to a client who's had nothing to do with their file and they're like, I don't care, I just give you the numbers, I don't care what the reports look like. Otherwise, I've had bad experiences. I do a straight trial balance. So the data, the cleanliness of the data means nothing because I'm starting fresh, clean, trial balance, start, and that's it.
No, but I mean, like, regardless of whether it's Sage or I've done a conversion from MYOB as well, whatever the other software isn't as important as how do you do the diagnostic if it's not something that you have access to be able to look at.
Right. And as Sherry said, I wouldn't.
Or I'd ask for a complete GL and just start looking at the GL and how things are entered. Because then at least you get the idea of how things are being entered. Are you seeing a bill or is everything put in as an expense, which means, they're cash coding or they're doing the cash basis, right?
And then my other question as far as giving the refund, which I don't want to do, but What do you think about the idea? So I charged $250. What do you think about the idea of, say, charging $500, but saying I'll give you $250 back if you become a client? $250 is what I ultimately want
Why
to
are you
charge
getting
for,
anything back? It was your time.
to incentivize them to becoming a client afterwards.
But
So
then they're always going to be asking for a discount. They'll always be expecting something back. If you start them off and say, my price is $250, I'm a professional, that's what I charge. Okay. There are some cases where I don't do that, and I'll talk about them another time. But
are you
I
actually
do,
doing other work?
well, I do a consulting program where I teach people to get started with Calendly. And if I do it if I do a presentation to a networking group, and I then say, I then help you get started with Calendly, I do a time limited offer where I take $100 off the price. But I never would say to somebody walking in off the street, I would say, that's the price.
So if I had somebody, and I look at this two different ways in two different situations. First off, if I had somebody that I wanted to see their books right up front, or they wanted a diagnostic review, I think you're charging way too less, Kim. I would charge $750. That is what I charged the accountant before. She did not even blink at it. Again, it took me hour and a half to do everything. She was thrilled to pieces. She paid it and decided, based on, my findings, not to go ahead, because there was like 4 pages of findings, not to go ahead and deal with that client. So she happily paid it. Most of the clients we find, like, because of our quoting process that we go through, I don't look at the books really until kind of afterwards. But what I do is I let them know that I kind of give them almost like a signing bonus. So, and again, it depends on the person. If I'm bringing it on, I don't want to pay them, especially the clients that we're going out and we're targeting. If I were to tell them that they're going to pay $750, they would not be able to afford it. They would say, I'm sorry, nobody else here does it that way. So what I do for them is I do something a little different for them. So again, it would depend on how they came to me and what it was like. But at that point, what I do, and I'm sorry for my dog in the background, but what I do is I actually have built in that the value of my review and setup is $1,000. If at any time we part ways within 6 months, and this is built into their contract, and if they don't sign it, I won't do business. If for any reason for 6 months we part ways, they owe me a $1,000 bill, and they've signed a contract saying that they will pay that, or they know they will be sent to collections, but it is owing. If they stay, or if at any part between 6 to 12 months we part ways, they will be billed for 50% of that and responsible for 50% of that. As long as they are still with me and we have a continuing relationship at 12 months and onwards, that is forgiven. So that way I can say, here's the value of the work, but it's kind of like a signing bonus. So I'm not discounting it. So that's kind of what I do for normal situations, because again, nobody else in the area does it. And I would not get those clients.
That's a little similar to what I do with my retainers. So I always get a retainer, but it's in my service agreement that after 12 months of on-time payment history, then I will start to return 25% of their retainer every quarter. So at the end of 2 years of working with me, their retainer will have been refunded to them.
Right. Why do you do that?
I don't know. I just feel like I don't necessarily need to hold on to retainers if somebody's demonstrated that they're a good client and that they pay me on time. My whole reason for taking the retainer is because I got burned a couple times in the past where people didn't pay me. So that was my only reason for getting it. So if I have an established relationship with somebody and we've been working together for 2 years, and by 2 years, I know whether they're a good client or not, I don't feel that I need to keep their retainer anymore at that point.
Do you actually send them the money back, or just apply the retainer to new bills?
I apply it to their bills.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I've been burned, but I just prefer these days because people's businesses are fluctuating so much. I wouldn't return a retainer
Mhm.
that way. It just stays there because to me, it is like right now, I'm in a situation with my largest client hasn't paid me this month because they
Well,
haven't
and
had the
these days
funds.
things are different now though, right?
Yeah.
So
But that's just
It-
it. I had used up, I had to apply that retainer. If I had to apply that retainer, so I do have $1,000. I've worked way more than the retainer this month.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, am I going to get paid? Am I not? You know, and I actually see I'm way down that list. And I got paid before, but I just feel it's the same as lawyers. You know, you work to that point.
I also had a client one time ask me if I was going to pay them interest on their retainer, which I wasn't willing to do. So that kind of played into my thought process about not holding.
That's tenancy. That's rental tenancy.
And
Like,
that's on a deposit, not on a retainer. We can call it a
exactly.
retainer,
There's
and
a difference.
therefore it's not applicable to interest. Exactly, residential tenancy, that a whole other ballgame.
And I think it depends how your engagement is worded. If your engagement says you will work up to that retainer each month.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if you're taking the retainers the whole month of that's what you flat feed or, however you build,
Then
then
essentially they're refilling the retainer every month, which is more like a prepaid plan too.
yeah, I don't know. I just look at it
Something like that.
as that way. But
Mhm.
back to the thing about reviews, I really think that, I mean, I've had a $2,500 review. It was a big, big job to do the type of review they wanted. Like there's let's just quickly look at your books. And then there's we're going to have an audit and we need our books cleaned and we need to, and it's like, oh, I literally had to start from scratch.
Right.
Undo all the reconciliations, rematch, do everything. So looking at that and seeing it was an expensive review. But like, again, I think it all comes down to what you need it for and the components of it.
Well, Sherry, was that $2,500 to tell them what was wrong or $2,500 to fix what was wrong?
No, so it was 2,000. And then I said there were certain things I would fix up to $500. I said, here's what I will do. Anything over that, we really need to discuss whether you just need a new file or what we need to do. Like there's a point we all know in files when they're so bad, it's better just to start from scratch all over again. And it's not that difficult depending upon, like if you're using a receipt bank, if you're using receipt bank and everything's in receipt bank, you can just unarchive everything and repost to a new file. Unfortunately, we can't purge our files anymore now with QBO. But I mean, I've done that where I purged the file, reset it up and okay, there we go. I can import and it was like clean.
Yeah. Well, and so why I wanted to talk about this is because we actually are doing a video, and I'm glad Sherry jumped on here because she was one of the three of us who have really been working with this company for the last little while. So it's autoreview.io. This is the very first time that, like I said at the beginning, that I have actually come out and I am publicly endorsing and saying that like this is going to be on every single one of my files. Like QBO is the tool we chose to use. Auto review is a must have. And so essentially what it is, and I've done a video, they've put it out, it's going to be shared on social media. They've technically been in beta until I think November the 1st. We have the webinar set for I think the 10th, I think. I'm putting it up on my, I'll be putting it up and posting it out today. But yeah, so Sherry, Paul Burns, and myself, we worked with them and gave them a bunch of different ideas. So first off, they're obviously for reviewing files for diagnostic review. Secondly, they were extremely receptive to things that we had. We would give ideas and say, no, we need this, we need this, we need this. And they would say, okay, well, that'll be done for Monday. It's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? So it is an amazing product, and it is a file review. Currently, it's only working with QBO. It is a file review with AI built in. So they have a lot of custom reports, And so I've looked, there's definitely other products like that out there. I'm not going to mention any of them by name because I've now just said this is my favorite. So they're actually, so sorry, Kim's just asked where they're based. They are based in India. I feel so bad for the poor guys because they're always at the middle of the night when they're talking to us. But they're absolutely, yeah, they're just great guys. They're accountants that started this to be able to do diagnostic reviews and monthly reviews on the file. So we have a bunch of custom reports. I worked for the last year with Intuit and Mountain View, giving different advice and feedback, probably almost a year and a half now, giving feedback and advice onto the monthly review. And I have to say, autoreview.io in 2 months far kicks ass. And yes, I said ass.
Blows.
It is, but this is all they do. They do one thing. This is what their team does. They do one thing and they do it well. There is built-in AI. It caught stuff. So my file reviews are very in-depth. We have certain things that we look at. I do a mini file review every single month. We have our checklist, everything that we look for. It caught one entry I missed last year. I was like, wow, I missed that? Like my team missing it is one thing. I missed it last year. Sandra went in and used it and she caught it. She's like, oh, it caught it in here, Tanya. You missed it last year. It was like, wow. So Sherry, what's your opinion? I've talked lots. You give your opinion on it. Like,
I love it. Like I have not been excited about a tool since the beginning of receipt capture. Like,
yeah. And I'm sorry, Stacy. We're getting the look from Stacy right now. So
I know.
I'm sorry, but
That's exactly what you're getting. Thank you.
So look, what was the look? I missed that.
Every time I'm on here, there's a new app that I have to look at and I have to learn, and I don't have time to learn all of these apps.
This is, you know what?
learning curve 0. Like, okay, maybe 20 minutes learning curve.
Okay.
It does it for you.
There's a lot of it sets up and a lot of you can go through. I'm running it on my files weekly. Like
Okay.
just to keep us that much so that we can see what's coming through. And it's because other apps are not working as well as they should. And so it's catching things, you know, that aren't being caught by the other app as it's bringing, and as you know, we've missed it. I was gonna say I have not seriously been this excited about anything since like the beginning of receipt capture, and that I haven't had an app excite me like that. Like it's almost in a way, I was saying they've almost gamified a file review.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people like I'm this person who like is challenged. So if it says, oh, you had 9 entries without a payee, and I'm like, 9? Oh my gosh, you got to make sure next month, you know, like how did that happen? You know, and what are we looking at? And then
What was my score this month?
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's something like I've asked them to come out with is how many transactions and then how many. So like I kind of view it as there's two areas. There's what's integral for good financial books, and then what is important for clean data.
Right.
So
Yeah. And some of the reports, like it catches, as Sherry says, it will catch these. And these are the reports that you don't have to customize. These are there. And you can pick which months they now have. So when I started with them 2 months ago, it was 1 month at a time, which was a little bit of a pain. They now have it that you can pick your month. So I can do 3 years all at once. I've got 2 years to do of a file this weekend. I'm doing it all at once, but I tried to get in and I would show you guys on a sample file right now, but apparently my trial's over and it won't let me enter my billing information. And it's a 60-day trial, by the way, right now. So who gives you a 60-day free trial? Like nobody. But it catches entries that are in a parent account. It catches that automatically. It catches what does it catch? It catches items.
Names is my favorite. So like using Receipt Bank, how Receipt Bank puts in the
Yes.
Depot or Home Depot. And it's like, oh, did it again. We missed this. And, you know, so then I go into Receipt Bank and I merge them and go into my QuickBooks. But some of the stuff I really like, you're saying is that, but I also like when I look at that, I can actually, it pulls in the transaction from QBO and
Yes.
so that I can see it there. So I don't have to be looking and constantly going in and out and in and out.
And you can see the attachments in there as well too. What is coming, which I'm not sure if it'll be coming when it launches or if that'll be coming in the new year, but that you will be able to edit in there, and the edit will push over to QBO, which is actually even cooler.
And it looks like I'm looking at the pricing. You said, you know, you get 60 days free trial. Right now, it looks like a beta version offer, $5 per month per client. Any QuickBooks companies added until the 31st of October be $5 per month for 12 months. That's a significant savings.
Perfect. They've upped. I didn't want to say that because last time I looked, it was it still said September 30th. So I'm glad that's been updated. So yeah,
Okay.
so it's $5 per month. It is US. We have told them, because the 3 Canadians of us that were working on them, we've told them that Canadians like Canadian pricing. That is on the list for them to review. I'm definitely going to try to work on a bootcamp partner program with them. So when you guys are watching this, Nick, I'll be asking you for that. We've also asked them for, like, you know, batch instead of a per client pricing, you know, pricing in batches or whatnot. So again, they're going to review all that, but they're very open and receptive, which is awesome, because we haven't, I hear apps all the time. They say they want the feedback, but what do they do with the feedback? These guys are going, like I say, in the 2 weeks before I first saw them, and when I mentioned them to Sherry in a chat that we were on, like I was at my chiropractor, by the time I got back from my chiropractor, Paul had his demo, Sherry had hers booked, and I'm like, guys, I was gone half an hour, what the heck? And then I hopped onto Sherry's demo. They had already implemented some of the changes that I had suggested 2 weeks before, and I was like, wow, that is just really impressive. And we've had them working really hard, and they went with it all. If they didn't understand why, they would ask why. Help me understand why, instead of just appeasing us and telling us, oh, like, it's just, can't say enough. And what do they do? So you can also take a look. There's some diagnostic tools in there as well, and reports that are set up that it looks at inconsistent amounts. So if you're used to paying, you know, for something $100 every month, all of a sudden there was $200, that's either going to come up under a possible duplicate transaction, which under the duplicates, Sherry asked for this one, said, can you mark off which is cleared? So if we know one is cleared and one's not cleared, they're the same date, so there's probably a duplicate. But it'll also come up saying, hey, in the last 6 months, every month it was $100. This one was $200. Why? Or this usually goes to this account. This month it went to this account. Are you sure that's right? Or you usually pay $100 every month. This month you missed one. So it's just amazing.
I'm assuming it does not work with QuickBook Desktop.
Currently, no. So there's a few extra reports that we can, you know, that we're putting in there and dealing with and asking them for. But and yeah, so Sherry, Paul, and myself are actually going to be on their very first demo. So we get to premiere them to their live webinar. We get to premiere them to the world. So I'm gonna have to look for a red carpet background or something for them too.
So Tanya, would this be, I know we were on a call last week and somebody had mentioned about building pricing for apps into their value pricing quotes. And you had mentioned that you have like a flat rate of $100. I think you said $100. I could be wrong about the amount. But you have
$100.
like a flat rate for software, and there was a bit of a cushion built into it. So when the prices of software gets increased, you have that cushion still. When you have that flat rate built in, do you even bother telling your clients it's mandatory to have this program, especially when it's more of a behind the scenes one for you? Do you even tell them that
They don't know I'm using it. They don't care.
Yeah,
Unless
exactly.
I put in my quote what we're using and put a value, and I kind of put, we're using this for this, this for this, this for this, here's the value. I tell them it's all built into the price. And no, because I've got that, they don't know I'm charging them $100. I just put that in as a cushion. Now, that's actually going to save me time, because I don't have to pay people to spend as much time going in all the other places and reviewing the files. There's a way that you can have the person. So once I've got everything set up and worked through the files properly, I'm passing that back to the girls. So they're going to do the reviews on their own files. First off, they're going to learn what they have missed, and I want them to be able to learn from it and to be able to do that. They're going to then sign off, then it'll come to me, and all I have to do is just do a quick review of what they've signed off on. So our reviews are probably about 7 minutes on average, but I can guarantee you that this 7 minutes, it's probably going to take about 4 minutes and it's going to be catching a lot more. And like I say, it caught something that I missed.
And does it have reports that, since we were talking about diagnostics, does it have reports that you can spit out that's presentable to a prospect saying, here's your diagnostic that I've done for you? Or do you still have to compile everything into your own separate pretty version of a report to present?
You can export a number of the reports, but I did a screenshot for a client because they just added a credit card. And they're going, why should, I said, well, I'm going to have to change the fee now that you've added another credit card. And they said, but why? We're still doing the same amount of transactions. And I said, well, in fact, no, because now you're transferring money, even though you're making the same purchases, you're now transferring money from a bank account to the credit card. You're doing all these. And so what I did is I took the screenshot of, here's your transaction numbers for the last 6 months. And I was able to just take that screenshot and say, okay, here's how many bill payments, transfers, journal entries, and I said, look at you've gone up, month over month over month. But also I'm using it for the negative customers. So like if I've got payments that have come in and I don't know who it's to, I code that to AR. So it just goes AR unknown, unknown customer AR, but then I get this nice list, and instead of it coming out of QBO, it's right there, and I can just, okay, here you go, print it, and it actually comes out nicer than the QBO reports.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I've been super, like I said, it's been a long time since I've been excited. I tried to get Chata to create something like this. Because the thing is, like Tanya said, looking at the rent. So all of a sudden it's going to flag 1 month is different. Why? Well, guess what? Somebody else input that and they didn't pull the GST out. So you have all these months, and then you can actually put your rules in for your supplier. So if you have insurance that's paid, you can say from October 23rd and put the note in there against that vendor, October 23rd, 2020 until September, the insurance is going to be $169.88.
And if it's anything different, it now flags and comes up in one of the reports.
Absolutely. And so there's those, where it's consistent, cell phone bills. So I know in the cell phone bill, I just put that one on a client, putting a flag there. The cell phone bill is this much, and if it's gone over, I need to take a look, because that means they've got their kids on there and the kids have gone over. So I got to make sure that that's not getting put to cell phone, that it's getting put to, what was that? That is getting put.
Rosie's upstairs. That could have been her.
Yeah, but that I'm looking to make sure that we're putting a draw on what's the difference.
I think that was my.
Sorry, go ahead, Lawrence.
I think that was my email talking.
Oh, I was like, what's that? I thought something's coming through.
Are you able to set up your own custom sort of report templates within Balsam Way that you then apply to each client and just edit as necessary based on the numbers or vendors or whatever? Like,
I think that's coming, isn't it, Tanya?
Yes.
Oh, you don't have to recreate the same reports over and over again every client file?
They've already got it for you. Like they've already gone, you have a certain view, and then you have the, what's it called? Speed mode?
Speed mode. Yeah, speed
mode.
mode.
Speed mode has all these things. And when you go in, it just gives you, and it says, here's the number. So let's say you've got 5, so my goal is I want to see 0 on all these. I get that like happy feeling. Oh, look it's all good. But then looking, I've got 5. I click on the 5, then I can see what they are. It actually will even open up the QBO transaction as well, right?
Yep.
So you can look at it there. You can look at, but it doesn't take long.
And it's a two-way sync with QBO?
Yeah,
Sorry?
like it'll open up.
It's a two-way? Okay.
Well, right. Yeah. No, right now it's just a one-way sync, because if you do edits in there, the edits don't push to QBO. So it'll tell you that. But that is coming. I do believe they said it was coming in November. Now they're launching in November. So whether it comes for their launch or shortly after, but it is coming.
But it doesn't take very long. But I understand because I work in a brewery niche. So especially here in BC, there's the specific set of vendors that are always, I use a specific chart of accounts and people are buying from these vendors. So I know, Connect Hops, all these different hops and what it's going to be, the hop companies. So I know what that should be coded to. And then my capitalization. So like if I said anything over 500, look at this account. And that's another rule you can put in, anything over 500 in your office supplies account. Have it flagged, take a look at it. It should be capitalized.
It suggests that as a rule for you. It actually scans through and says, oh, it's this type of business. So if you've got anything under in any of your asset accounts, it'll say anything under, and you enter 500 or 200 or whatever, and it'll set this up. It gives you suggestions when you start of all of those of your capitalization limits, your above and below. So Sherry and I've talked a lot, and I've talked with other people about if we're going in and we're helping the apps do better and whatnot, they should be paying us for our time. I am going to put it out here that the three of us, again, Paul, Sherry, myself, we did not ask for any money for our time. We were so excited of the pain points that this solves for us and happy to do it. We put in several hours minimum, probably several hours a week going through it, feeding off each other's suggestions and whatnot. And again, I will not get paid for an endorsement. I am freely, openly endorsing them. And I'm sorry, Stacey, I will help you find money to save from another app on this one. Seriously, it's a must have.
Not the money. It's the time and the brain cells. That's the,
you know what?
It
doesn't take a lot, Stacey, honestly.
It's very simplistic, which is one of the first things I liked about it. Like I said to Sherry, I like that it's not like some apps that I see are shiny and ooh, it's so pretty. This isn't. In that aspect, I would not look at this and say it's so pretty. I would look at it and say it's functional. Now, apparently, this is the look that apps are going for, but it is functional. It is easy to learn. I
think it's fine.
You said the fee is per file, so it doesn't matter how many staff I have accessing that file. It's still just one fee per file. No
user fees at all. Yes.
Yeah. Can I ask what the program is? Sorry, I missed that.
You sure can, Amy. It's autoreview.io.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. Yeah, you have to look at, and we didn't have time to bring it up last week, and we were too busy with all the other new ones.
That's okay. And I apologize for no video. I'm driving, but I just got into the car. I'm like, right, I still have time. So
but no video. I'm glad you made it. That's awesome. But no, I will send you that link. And again, until October 31st, 60 days free. $5 a month. It's US right now. But the more of us Canadians that ask, I think they love us Canadians because I think us Canadians gave a lot more input than our south of the border friends did. I don't know.
They've been busy with something else the past couple.
Exactly.
With the $5 per app, do you still get or $5 per client file, do you still get the 60-day free trial?
Yep. My 60 days is done today, apparently.
Yeah, mine
I can't find where to put my billing information in. So yours should be in about 2 weeks then, Sherry. Because I think we were at 2 weeks.
No, I've got, it's telling me I got so many days left or whatever. But I think it's also when you're looking at things, if you have a team, it's a great way of seeing if your team is learning.
For Coach Back, yep.
Also, I know Lisa Channel, the app she uses for a review, she tells her team that she doesn't want to look at the file until it says it's 90% complete. That file review tool has looked at it and said it's at that point. For me, I just look at it and go, okay, they can start to learn, but I'll also be able to see how much time are they spending going in there. Are they relying on it to catch their mistakes? But how many times do you go in and fix something? So my team member, I said, here, I need you to look at the duplicate entries and I need you to look at this. And then she realized how many errors she had made from Receipt Bank of posting payments as the expense instead of the expense. So now we had, she was using, because a lot of clients send in separately the credit card slip as well as the bill. So, okay, it comes in. I said, oh, when you see those, you got to look through the file, you got to merge it. Well, obviously she didn't, and she was catching them. And she goes, oh, I totally get what I got to do now, because this was catching it and telling her. So I think it can be used as a tool for team members, but also for like looking at bonuses, looking at,
Mhm.
at year end performance reviews. It's just
Yep.
one aspect of a performance review. But I
Yep.
think it's got tons of potential.
Absolutely. And like I say, and how open they are to this, and the fact that they're accountants and they work in the file too. I always love it when I hear that an accountant's done it, but I also love it a little bit more when I hear that there's an accountant that is concerned about this level of detail, because to be honest, that's very rare out there. And I'm sorry to the accountants out there, but we work with the different levels of detail, and it's true. But this will help the accountants, because that means there's going to be all this stuff is going to be caught. So the accountant doesn't have to worry about doing the adjusting journal entries. We don't have to worry about as much. Like I just can't say enough.
So what is this auto review versus the month end review that has come up with QBO now?
It's about 50 times
It is
more pieces that it's reviewing than what QBO's review does.
Tanya said it's the QBO version on steroids.
Oh yeah, big time on steroids. On steroids, pumped up. Like, yeah, it's like, those before and after. Okay, think of Captain America. We all watch those. There's the Captain America before and the Captain America after. And I'm sorry, QBO, it just is what it is. This is Captain America after, with all the muscles and real cute and big, and
this is all they do. This is, yes, they've got their accounting firm, but this is all this app does.
Yeah, they focus on that. Whereas QBO has a couple people working on this, a couple people working on that, a couple people working on this. You can be an expert on one thing, or you can be, good on a bunch of things. I'm not saying, QBO is going down the, they're the tool of choice for me on that. Absolutely. But
I'm actually just looking on the auto review website at one of the features that I haven't heard you guys mention yet, but it would be huge for me. And they call it Sign It Off. And it's for when you're doing your year-end or month-end processing or whatever. You can sign off on accounts that you've already reviewed and checked, and you know that they're good. Because right now it's a very manual process for me. I'll actually print it, and as I go through each account, I'll cross it off on my printed copy. So I like that.
Yeah.
And they've got the sign off on the side as they have a review. So say you're looking at dormant accounts. That was when there was dormant accounts. We had duplicate names. So as you've looked at that and you've seen the two, and say you've looked at them and, oh no, that's not. So like it's caught Amazon for me. I've got Amazon.ca and Amazon.com on an account, and every now and then it just shows up as Amazon. It's like, okay, no, the CA and the com, those are not duplicate names. So, okay, check. We've checked that, we've looked at it, but also, yeah, like you can look at it from those, but then you can also create all those rules and look at things. Like you can look at your income statement by vendor. So if say you have meals, you can then click that, and then it's going to show you under meals. Okay, let's say they've got all these McDonald's. Well, then you build that flag. I have it with a client. Anything under $15 at McDonald's, that's personal. I'm flagging that. If we accidentally put it through, the $15 at personal, it's definitely personal, because I know what they buy for lunch all the time. There's not two coffees and meeting somebody, because you can't do two people at McDonald's these days for $15.
Yep.
Right.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I see in
No, it is awesome, Amy, for sure.
Sorry. Okay. I have a question after Kimmy about this, but
Okay.
I see in the upcoming features, one of them says prepaid and accruals calculation. What are they doing with that?
So
I hadn't seen
I
that one yet.
think that is one of the ones that might have been Paul put in, that if you've put in, say, you've had a prepaid, say your insurance for the year
Yeah.
is, let's say, $1,200, then you can do that to show it where it will break it down and that it should be okay, $100 per month. I think that was one of Paul's suggestions.
I think so too, because I know it wasn't mine. And if it wasn't yours, it was Paul's then.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, or their own. They got lots.
Or their own. Yeah, exactly. Their own as well too. Now I know one of the things that I've suggested, or Paul and I actually both suggested, and they came up with something slightly different because they didn't get what we meant. We're like, oh, we like that, but now we want this too, is the dormant accounts. So if somebody puts through either a dormant account, a dormant vendor, or a dormant customer, then if it hasn't been used in 6 months, it'll flag it so that you can be, oh, yes, they still should be used. What Paul and I actually meant is we want ones that haven't been used in over a year that maybe we want to make inactive and archive. So that is coming as well too. So we've got the one side. It's already there now?
Oh, yeah,
See, I can't get in. No, but
Yeah.
that dormant account is not the same one. That dormant account looks for items that have not been used in 6 months but are now being used, not ones that haven't been used at all that we can make inactive.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I had something come up and I said, no, I just used it this month. That to me is not dormant. And they explained, no, it hadn't been used in the last 6 months. Are you sure you want to use it now? Not, it hasn't been used. It's okay to maybe archive it.
Yeah, so I opened it up while we were talking. A couple of the ones, I mean, I know I asked for was new suppliers. I want to see, because of I am finding your CBank is not the same quality it used to be. So like I said, it's not finding the stuff. Like I said, the Home Depot, and it's just automatically creating. And if we're flying through this, or if Sherry is posting while she's watching TV, then every now and then I miss it. And so then I can capture that. So yeah, I'm just looking.
New suppliers, new customers, new accounts. So again, let's say somebody set up a new chart of account and you're like, but why did you set up provision for income taxes? It was already called income tax. You know, you can then catch that type of stuff. Or again, catch that there was a spelling mistake in the name. Like, no, Kim is spelled Kimme, not Kim. That's the same person. You know, simple little things like that. It's it's amazing.
I see it's on their roadmap to start integrating with Xero.
Yeah.
Nothing about QBD, but it says Xero is on the roadmap.
Oh, cool. So they've got under the speed mode, it says uncategorized entries posted to the parent GL, new supplier entries, new GL entries. And with new GL entries, you can also flag that. So say you have an app bringing something in. So like I'll have Bootkeep bringing in stuff from Square. I can say, don't show me these, take that account out. So new account entry or new customers.
Clearing accounts balance to zero, right? That's in there somewhere too. Yeah.
Negative zero balance suppliers, negative zero balance customers, duplicate entries, entries without payees, unreconciled entries, dormant account entries, duplicate names, and then review. And you can create your own reviews. So they automatically come up with GL misclassifications, amount inconsistencies, and missing entries. So it's telling me I have 4 GL classifications right now, which I can see exactly where it is. Yeah. Oops.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead,
So-
Amy, of course.
So it was mentioned, I think Sherry Lee mentioned that you can do income statement by vendor.
Sorry, Amy, you're in a bad area. We couldn't get any of that.
Is there a way on that, like, think a little longer on that line? If you,
Okay, you're back. You're
can you
back.
guys hear-
Okay.
No?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, you're
Hello?
back now.
Okay, I think I hit the mute button. I think I have like a mute button on my microphone. So anyway,
No.
okay. So along the lines of like the vendor, like getting an income statement by vendor, if you like, say right now we've got everybody, there's a whole bunch of people that are looking to, that need to have like certain kinds of income statements in classes that maybe we don't have set up in a class, like the SUBA loan and things like that, or we're looking, so that I'm thinking, sorry, my head's in a million places. So the tag feature that just came out in QBO, that they're just releasing in QBO, mixed along with this review thing. So not necessarily creating an income statement by a vendor, but being able to create an income statement in auto review base versus on tags. So like certain vendors get tagged towards SEBA, like, you know, if you've got insurance and all of these different things.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, okay,
Tanya's
cool.
talking about the rules. So when you have the vendor, you can say that the vendor is supposed to be this and should be this amount going to this account.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and
okay, cool. Maybe I need to like sit down with someone and see if someone can help me like make like a filter up.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I'm happy to help you with that, Amy. I just can't get into
if I,
mine
like,
right
cut
now.
out.
No, that's okay. But then we're also doing the efficiency.
No, it's okay. I'm driving, so I can't see anything.
No, I know, not now. No,
Okay.
not now. But we are in, I think it's November 10th. We're actually having them on for an official demo, but I'm happy to connect with you sometime in between now and then if you want to help walk you through it. Sure.
Something that's
great. That'd be awesome. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Amy. Wait, you're here still.
No, I think I'm in the process of trying to, I'm really sorry if I'm cutting in and out.
That's okay.
I'm in the process of trying to put together like a SEBA loan application for a client that doesn't qualify under the payroll. So it has to do the deferred expenses. So I need to have backup for everything. Now I ask her for all of her expenses and receipts. Doesn't always happen. So some things do get cash coded. So my preference, what I'm going to try to do over the next little while as I'm putting this together, is find expenses that already have attachments to them. But I wanted to find a way to like kind of break them out really quickly and go to the vendors that have like the largest amount of expenses, like the, you know, have not the largest, the least amount of expenses with the most amount of value, so that I can hit the $40,000 a lot quicker, if that makes sense. So that's just what I'm in the process of trying to do. And I'm trying to find a way that's easier than trying to do a spreadsheet based on all the things and find out if there is or isn't an attachment.
Right.
You could see like it will show you. So say right now, if I'm looking at, I don't know, I'm just looking at fuel. I can click on the fuel and then I can see that it was Superstore, and I can see right there where it says it's got an attachment and it says RB whatever. So it's kind of a perfect way of going in and looking that way.
So it has that in auto review. You can see that it has the attachment.
Yeah. When you
wonderful. Okay.
And one of the cool things that I found that I wish we'd had at the very beginning of Sue's is, so like I can scroll over, I'm on the income statement right now, and it's showing me my year over year, what it was. So, you know, where we were looking, what was their income last year at this time and what was it this time? So like I'm looking, you know, right here, it's saying April 2020 was 78,000. And then I can, you know, here's what it was, March, April, whatever, but it's giving us those numbers there, the 3 months, 6 months. And we
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. So that's it. I'm going to not work I'm not going to work this weekend anyways, but maybe next week I can set something up with that. Well, I'm on my way to a girls' weekend right now. So,
nice. Good. Enjoy.
I'm so excited. Just a little bit of wine and no work. I'm turning my phone off after this.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thanks.
Do you have wine, women, and song?
I might be too young for that reference, Lawrence. I don't want.
I get it. I think that means I'm old.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna look it up now though and come back next week with something for you.
I don't know that reference either, Amy. Don't worry.
Oh,
it
okay.
Really
well then,
matter. It's just an indication that you're going to have a good weekend.
Well, I have wine in my car. I'm going to meet with other women, and I sing.
Once you've had a couple of bottles, you start singing.
No, I sing all the time, so that's fine.
So then you've got the 3 ingredients for a great weekend.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah. So I will maybe book a time with you, Tanya, for next week and work on, maybe you can help me with that.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely.
for showing this today. That's amazing. I'm
Oh, no,
excited.
you're
I'm so
welcome.
glad
I'm
I jumped
glad.
on.
Me too. Well, everybody's going to hear about this. It's like, it's, yeah, I'm going to be sharing stuff out. Like I say, it's really, it's super exciting. So you would have got it anyway, but I'm very glad you jumped on too. So it's always nice to hear from you. All right. Well,
Thanks.
it is.
Sorry. Thanks.
It's
Okay.
okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye. So it is 10 to 5. I do have to go because I have to get myself ready for an online gala in 12 minutes. That apparently we are up for a award. We were nominated and for our local, so it's a Quinty Business Association award. And so we were nominated for Specialized Service of the Year. It is not a voting award, so I love that it's not a popularity contest and it is strictly by merit. We don't know who nominated us. We don't know why, but the reason for the nomination has to be a good one. It has to show service excellence. Basically, otherwise they don't accept the nomination. So I'm pretty excited to see that. And it was supposed to be an in-person event and it's not because of COVID. So we get to do an online gala. So I'm very, very excited for that. So we'll see. There might be a new banner to put up as of tomorrow. So anyway, but I'm very glad that you guys came to join share. This is perfect. I'm glad the timing worked out for you to come back in to talk about auto review. You must have known. You must have heard, oh, she's talking auto review. Let's come on.
No, I sat down.
It was just fluke.
I was at meetings and eye doctor's appointments and all sorts of stuff. And I sat down and it literally popped up. Tanya's just gone. And I'm like, hey, I normally am in a coaching session right now. And this is the first time I can actually jump on and attend. So
awesome. Well, it was the perfect one because yes, we got to talk auto AI and then Stacy can start to give you dirty looks too, not just me.
I've pared down my apps massively this year.
I have too. We have SIFT analytics on everybody that, because I can get, a low price for everybody. And again, that's thanks to Sherry. So I get it, Stacy. Sherry's the one I give the looks to. She introduced me to ClickUp. She introduced me to Airtable. She introduced me to SIFT. So yeah, I introduced her to Auto AI. But yes.
I pushed you to Receipt Bank years ago.
You did. So yeah, I get it, Stacy. She gets my evil looks. So, but yeah, we're QBO, Receipt Bank, Auto AI, SIFT Analytics, and Rewind pretty much. And Rewind's not on everybody. If they don't pay for it, it's not on there. Auto reviews on everybody. Has to be. Even our support clients, because that's part of what we do is the support is we do a review on their file every month, right? So we can do it quicker. So, but yeah, the apps I've scaled it all back down to. Anyway,
good luck,
okay.
Tanya.
Thank you. Well, so thank you everybody for coming. Have a very wonderful weekend, and
Good luck.
we will see you all soon. Thank you.
Good luck, Tanya.
Thank you. Okay, take care, everybody. Bye.